Here we go. Now, I guess you could say this review is somewhat a little bit out of date, but you know what? Better late than never, right? So, as I said in my last video, I got the WWE Network on my Xbox, and one thing I've been watching is they've released this Raw flashback show, which is pretty much chronologically from starting with episode 1. Every weekday they release an episode, and they went from episode 1, they're now to episode 19, and I've never seen these old Raws. I'm sure a lot of you have never seen these old Raws. So, I went back to watch something that I've never watched. Now, a lot of these old Raws are very boring and very bad and nothing happening. It's a huge difference from what Raw later will be. Now, most of these matches on these shows are just jobber matches, squash matches, and I'm talking legit jobber matches. Not like when we say Dolph Ziggler is a jobber, or Jack Swagger is a jobber, or Kofi Kingston is a jobber. No, no, those guys are actual superstars. These are actual jobbers. These, first name, last name, generic looking motherfuckers. Like, you got, like, just names PJ Harvey, Von Kruss, Jimmy Powers, these names that I'm sure people who remember watching these shows don't even know who they are anymore to this day. I'm talking legit jobbers who would just go against established talent in order to make established talent look better. There weren't actual competitive matches for the most part on these shows. Back then, I guess they worried a lot more about win-loss records. So by having superstars against jobbers, they build on their win column, and then at the pay-per-view they have superstar versus superstar match. This way, when you get a superstar like Ryback, he doesn't have to lose a bunch of matches because he's facing other superstars every week. He could win a bunch of matches on the TV show and then have a serious match. But with that said, you do get a lot of shitty matches, a lot of just jobber matches. And the thing is, it's not like on these shows you're getting actual legit, the main guys of WWF. It's not like every week you're getting Bret Hart, Razor Ramon, Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels. I mean, a lot of these shows feature secondary characters most. I mean, like Friar Ferguson, Damien Demento, Repo Man, people like this. So it is a very different Raw than what we have today. That being said, I do think that this show is a very good show, and that's why I'm talking about. That's why I'm, offering this as a suggestion, because, I'm sure a lot of you people haven't seen these Raws, and, if you've already spent yourself watching the Attitude Era pay-per-views 10 times over on the WWE Network and you're looking for something new, check this show out. It's May 17th, 1993, episode 17 of Monday Night Raw. Very good show. It opens up with a clip from last week. It was really good, intense brawl with Shawn Michaels and Mr. Perfect outside of Manhattan Center. They're fighting in the streets of New York. Mr. Perfect throws Shawn Michaels through a windshield. Very good backstage segment. And then you get the opening match, and it's the debut of Billy Gunn. He's teaming up with Bart Gunn. They call themselves the Smoking Guns. So, a pretty noteworthy match here, noteworthy debut. They face a couple of jobbers, yeah, but it's cool to see Billy Gunn's debut on Monday Night Raw. So, pretty good start, noteworthy start to the show. Then you get a promo from Shawn Michaels, who is the Intercontinental Champion at the time. Pretty much Shawn Michaels bragging about how he's the Intercontinental Champion, and how he's not scared of anybody. He will defend his title any place, anywhere. And once he says this, out of the crowd comes a guy with a hoodie on and glasses, and he reveals himself to be Marty Jannetty. And Marty Jannetty says, if you're a man of your word, how about facing me tonight for the title? So we get that match set up later tonight. Very good segment. Very good heel promo from Shawn Michaels, like that chicken shit heel, but the chicken shit heel that he made best. And a surprising return from Marty Jannetty sets up the match later on. So a damn good couple of segments on Raw. Then you get Razor Ramon versus the 1-2-3 Kid, the Kamikaze Kid, the Kid. He calls himself all these other things. Pretty much just X-Pac when he was a jobber, known as the Kid or the 1-2-3 Kid. Razor Ramon versus 1-2-3 Kid. Very noteworthy and shocking match and legendary, infamous match, but not for the match quality itself, but for what happens. And for the sake of not spoiling anything, since I'm sure a lot of you haven't seen this stuff, I won't say what happens, but it is a pretty surprising and legendary match for what transpired. And then you get a couple of segments: Yokozuna versus Kamala, you know, kind of a below average match. You get Tatanka versus a jobber, your basic Raw jobber match at the time. And then you get to the main event. Easily the best match on Raw up until this point. I've watched up until episode 18. Shawn Michaels versus Marginetti, easily the best match up until this point from what I've seen. Because most of these matches, if they're not jobber matches, like you had Mr. Perfect versus Ric Flair on episode 2 or episode 3, but most of the matches are just rest holds in these days, and it's very slow, very plodding. It's very basic clotheslines, elbows, punches, very basic wrestling. But this match is actually very, very exciting. Very high flying, high risk type of match from these guys. Very high energy and high speed, which is a lot different from what you get on previous Raw matches. You get a lot of good old school Shawn Michaels selling, where he's bouncing all over the place. Marginetti pulling out all the stops. Some really cool fucking moves here. Marginetti skinning the cat like Shawn Michaels does with the cross body. He does this shit where he runs and jumps on top of Shawn Michaels' head and does a head scissors takedown. Really good match. And like I said, it's for the Intercontinental Championship. I won't say what happens, who wins, but up until this point, the best Raw match. A very, very, very good match. Goes about 10 minutes long. Mr. Perfect gets involved. So yeah, there you go. Just a little mini Raw review, a mini, suggestion. Definitely something good enough for you to take a look-see at. So there you go. I'm Jay Shitty, the voice of reason. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later.